Yes, now, welcome back to episode 53 of the Top Loaded podcast. This is a bumper episode with a big old interview with Kurt from KurtsCardCare coming up. And also after that, we following is a more of our usual content of reviewing new releases, seeing what they actually like once they're out, and then also recent pickups. But first of all, Mr. Harry, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, recording this on the Friday, so we're about to head into race weekend for the first weekend of this season's Grand Prix. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Arsenal are 5 points clear at the top of the table now. The F1 is restarting. Life is good. So yeah, I'm not doing too badly, thanks, mate. How are you?
Can't complain at all. Apart from when I realised I booked tickets for the Women's League Cup final when it happens to kick off at the exact same second as the F1 starts. So looks like I'll be watching the highlights of the F1. But that's not to complain about. But first of all, before we get into the interview, someone has made their YouTube debut with a little video last week, haven't you, my friend?
I have indeed, yes. Yeah, the YouTube video did air, I think, last Thursday. Obviously, of the my half of the challenge that Harry and the London Card Show team set us. So if you haven't already, go and check it out. I know Ronnie's is up on his YouTube as well. So it's a little bit of a two-parter for you. Go and check out mine, and go and check out Ronnie's and see how we both did. And I think the review is yet to come over on Harry's channel to see obviously who come out on top at the challenge. The YouTube video debuted last Thursday. So yeah, it's going well. Hopefully a lot more to come.
Yeah, like I say, there's a lot of stuff in the plans for both of us, YouTube side and podcast side. So we look forward to bringing everyone that. But first of all, before we get into everything else, we are going to be joined by Kurt from Kurt's Card Care, all the way from Michigan, Detroit. So let's get straight into that right now, and then we'll be back after this interview. And joining us now is a very special guest from all the way over the pond. I'm looking at my watch now. We're looking at 10 past 1. I'm recording this 10 past 6. We can just about get this. But I've always said in the UK hobby, I like to try and bring things to you that you might not have heard of, even if you have, just to convince you to try something new. And a very special guest is joining me from Kurt's Card Care. And even I could work out the name of the person because it's Kurt himself. So how are you doing, my friend?
Ryan, what's up, man? Thanks for the warm welcome. I'm excited to be on the show today, and I'm excited to get this message to some of our collector friends, in the UK and beyond.
Yeah, like we say, it's obviously such a, especially for products over here, like especially the newer ones in America, or not even the newer ones, but sometimes it just hasn't emerged over the pond yet. So, just for people who don't know, like, what was the idea behind the business, and actually, what is the business? Because I think this could save a lot of people, A, boosting their grades up, and B, turning some raw cards into actual graded cards.
Ronnie, you hit it right on the head, man. So, guys, my story is I'm Kurt, talking to you here from Metro Detroit, Michigan, and I have been a card collector since a little kid. I'm 41 years old now, and I started probably when I was 9 or 10, and got into it like most people do. You have a dad or a brother or an uncle or something that kind of shows you this stuff, and I don't know, it's like magic. It just kind of hits you. And so I've been on a lifelong journey of collecting cards, but as much as I enjoy the players and the sports and the collecting, is I've always been a pretty hands-on person. Before even grading, I was always obsessed with picking up cards I like, but I also always like picking up ones with little issues on them to see if I could personally just fix them or restore them. And I did it privately for a long time. And then when grading started being popular, now this is like still 20 years ago, and when I started going to card shows, I realized that it changed overnight. It went from all the raw cards, at book value. We used to look at a book and it would tell you how much it cost, the Beckett magazine. And now I started going to shows, and it all started depending on that number on the top right side. It's like, oh, I have that Michael Jordan card, but this one is at a 9 and it's worth a lot more. So I knew right away, as soon as I saw those numbers, I was like, all right, having your cards in the best shape possible is number one kind of now, even more important sometimes than the card itself. So that's when I started taking it even just more seriously and just really a personal challenge, just working on my own collection. And then I started asking guys at shows. Now I was like 20 years old and I was going up to collectors with the nicest cards and all the grades. And I would say, what do you do to these before you send them in? Some guys were like, oh, nothing. But I could tell they weren't telling me something. Other guys would be like, well, man, I always get a microfiber, I get a little cup of water, or I get a little Windex, or I get some turtle wax or something like that. Guys started telling me these things. I also have like a love for ingredients, manufacturing products. I love putting stuff together. And I grew up in a family that owned a car dealership. So I have a very built-in knowledge of how to make soaps and polishes and waxes and all this stuff. So when these guys were telling me they were using commercial cleaning products, the first thing I thought is, okay, so now people are telling me that there's little things they're doing, which I figured. But number two, I was a little concerned because a lot of commercial cleaning products aren't really exactly calibrated to work on a little bit of cardboard.
Yeah.
The concept is great, but it was like it needed to be improved. So I started looking for products. I would just Google search card cleaning products, card fixing products, card care, stuff like that. Nothing would come up except for a couple random blogs or whatever about commercial products. That's when I was like, you know what? Without making this story real long, I was like, there's a lot of stuff in these that are not the best to use. So I started making my own batches, small batches of my polish, of my cleaning spray. I even make like something that I use all the time, like a card tool. I made it like a paintbrush so I can work on edges and corners without shoving my finger on there and like hitting it with a fingernail or something like that. And I never really liked the idea of like trying to smash the bloody hell out of a card to try to like make it look flat. I was like, there's got to be little ways to do this stuff. So I just started with no business in mind. I just started making stuff. And then I started working on my cards and boom, I started getting great scores. And that's when I realized that I was pretty content. I was a collector. I liked working on cards. I liked making them look better. And that's really what I did for a long time. And then I had just throughout the years, you make friends in the card community. And I started working on other people's cards. And they got a kick out of it. They'd be like, I can't believe that you got this corner to flatten down, or I can't believe you got this stuff to work, or whatever. And maybe I was just slow, but then it started to, like, guys were like, you should really do this. You should really do this. And I started taking on more services, and I realized that I don't want to clean 100 cards a day every single day, right? It's a blessing because I was like, it's a cool job, but it was like, now I went from something I liked to like being bombarded with it. So during the pandemic, when cards kicked up real high, I started getting more requests that I could handle. And I was almost like at this point, like, I don't want to do this. And, or how do I say no or whatever? Like, I'm a pretty nice guy, I guess, and I say yes a lot. So I'm like, how do I like, just respectfully say no? And it was my wife of all people that was like, you make this great stuff. You're super passionate about it. You don't want to have people call you all day, every day and try to, send you orders. Why don't you just teach people how to do this? And I said, okay, let's do it. And I made an Instagram channel and I got out a handful of cards with common issues. And I just simply started talking and showing people with my hands what I do and how to use the tools. And it turned into like a full-time business, man. And I was really, happy, impressed, surprised, blessed, all of the above, that there were so many collectors in the United States, but around the world, that were like, I have the same issues. I've had the same thoughts. I've looked for products like this. And now that we're using your stuff and it's like legit and it works, like it's been a like a game changer for certain cards in my collection. So that's the long story to your simple question, but that's really how it all started. And that's, what I do daily now is strategize with collectors. The production facilities behind me right now. So we make everything in house. So it's all just it's a small business here in Metro Detroit, and we make collectors happy, I guess is what we do.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story. And I think it's a way in the hobby, which I think everyone loves, is that a lot of it is so homegrown. It's so you've done it yourself and then you brought it out to other collectors. Like I say, I remember once searching, I had a little print line on one of my cards. So I was like, surely there was a way. And this is how I first found about your product. And I was like, it's crazy how I was like, I thought there'd be tons of things. Like you say, like car cleaning, for example, there's 4 billion companies, it seems, are doing it the same product. But then I was like, it's such a niche market, the cars. Like you say, everyone has these problems with certain cars, and it's not someone's fault. It's a lot of times coming off the actual factory print line itself. And I think that's the main one for a lot of people. Obviously, I would say one of the most common issues is like blemishes slash print lines. So is that one of the main focuses? Like, because especially like Chrome cards, I've always said this. There's some lovely optics or tops Chrome cards where you get them little. That has got to be one of them that you thought there must be a way of improving that type of chromish kind of look.
That was like pretty much what was the jump start into making my sprays and the polish for sure. Because right around the year 2000 is when I started getting an eye for chrome cards. Like I grew up in a town called Ann Arbor, Michigan, and that's where the University of Michigan is, and that's where Tom Brady played. So like we were big into Tom Brady in college and ever since, you know, it was special to see somebody do that stuff. And um, I remember getting big into Chrome in like the year 2000. And it's funny, you can open up 5 packs and they're perfect. Then you open up the 6 pack and there's those blemishes, north and south, east and west, all over them. Now I'll tell you guys, like I make some good stuff, but you're gonna find out that those print lines on Chrome, they're like either one of two things. A, they are a deep ridge dug into the card, and when you have a deep scratch into a card, my products won't make a deep scratch go away. But if you look at a deep scratch under magnification, you're going to see that it's almost like shark teeth. It's tons of little scratches and little blemishes all through the ridge. So when you use the polish, at minimum, you can reduce that ugly look, you know, and that ugly big white line going through the card. B, the best scenario is since I've worked on so many cards, some of these print lines, because I don't know where else we're supposed to call them, you know what I mean? Like we just call them all print lines. You'll be surprised how many on modern era cards, Prism, Optic, um, Bowman's Best, guys. Like I don't know how popular baseball is in the UK, but in the States, Bowman is like big, and a lot of guys love their baseball. These cards come out of the pack trash, and they're super expensive, and they'll have a lot of times, sometimes scratches that are just dug in, and you're like, there ain't nothing I can do. But there's a lot of these little skimmer lines. It's almost like the cards go through a belt or some wheels run over them or something. Yeah. And you will impress yourself sometimes. You'll have a line that long on the card and you'll wipe it all down and the thing disappears. And you're like, holy moly, it's gone. But I could never get that stuff off with just a microfiber. It's almost like if you touch your vehicle when it has dirt on it and you rub it around, all you do is scratch up all the other areas around it. You know, so I was like, I knew that you can't be going after dry, hard substances with a dry towel. You're just going to screw it up. So that's when I was like, how do I invent a soft like lubrication that won't affect the card or stick to it forever, but like can work with these? And that's when I was just doing a lot of work behind the scenes for many years, you know. So that was like a main motivator for me with Chrome cards, was to like how to fix an issue that I didn't even cause, you know, just you open it up and that's what it looks like, you know. So good question.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially a lot of the cards that I've seen, especially within the last 6 to 12 months with similar issues, are you've got mainly your tops like your Chrome, especially like F1 has had it quite a lot recently.
Jeez. Around the world like F1, you know, that's like a worldwide brand. And I feel like every F1 card last year had that chip on the top corner or on the top middle. Sorry guys, that ain't going away. But here's things you even want to think about when you're working on cards. So like say F1, they all have that chip, right? So knowing that every single one of them has that, don't focus on that. Focus on what you can do. Focus on those edges and corners. Focus on that front and back. A lot of those F1 cards, you hold them under good light, they have almost like a little coat or a little blemish layer going across them. So I could be wrong, but I think if a grading company sees 10,000 F1 cards and they all have that little divot on the back, they're going to start grading on the curve, knowing that they're all like that. So if they're all going to be on that same playing field, make sure you do all the other stuff to the card to make sure it presents really well, you know? So, but yes, that there are a lot of frustrating little issues like that. And then you just got to think about, all right, I can't fix this, but what can I do to get this thing looking like that?
I think I put it perfectly because, like you say, if say one PSA guy is going to have 1,000 F1 cards in a row, 999 of them might have exactly the same issue. But you say the one person that actually takes care of the card, looks after it, cleans it up properly, you'll notice it straight away. That color just a bit more popping through and be like, well, I know that there's a printing error. So technically speaking, I'm not talking for PSA here, but they're meant to not, if it's a known printing error, they're meant to take that into account, like you say. So having that extra little thing in your armory gets you that extra mark, and that's going to be my main thing for you, because how it's funny how the hobby's changed. I remember I've only been in it relatively new in comparison to like some of yourself, like over the last 4 or 5 years. That I remember 4 or 5 years ago that an 8 would be about raw condition, like price wise, and 9 would do well, and then 10 would be a lot better. But we're now seeing that raw is closing up into the 9 territory, and then there's a big distance between 9 and 10. So have you seen a lot of people come to you, obviously trying to boost it up to that 10 now? Because that's where the money is. Whereas 8 to 10 before was your big money. Now it's 9 to 10, or even buying 7, 6 and 7s, turn them into your 9s and 10s.
Yeah, you know, that's really, especially because I respect anybody in the hobby for whatever their reason is, unless you're a scammer or a scumbag, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if, you know, I think there's sometimes where people that collect cards and never sell them would like say flippers are bad people. Who cares, right? Or if you sell cards, aren't you a flipper? You know what I mean? Like, is it something you hold forever and then you're allowed to sell it? So I don't get into all that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I agree with you. For the people that are in the hobby, that you can't, unless you have an unlimited bank account, you can just keep buying whatever you want. But really, like, the market speaks for itself, right? So now we see more raw cards sell closer to like a 9. So what's a collector to do? Especially if you're having, you know, if your job or your side job is to sell cards, you really, and then product being at an all-time high to buy new, and then it's got to be a 9 or a 10, it puts the collector right in the middle of a, it might be an American saying, but right in the middle of a rock and a hard place. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you supposed to do? How are you ever supposed to make any money or get a return on any of this? And you know what will happen? People will just get tired of the hobby and get burnt out because they're like, all I do is spend, spend, spend. And you guys will notice, like, there's guys that have people, so many come and go in this hobby. And I think a big part of it is it gets expensive, and it gets expensive fast. So you have to have some wins, you know? You can't expect to buy into every break and win. You can't expect to buy into any Raz or raffles or anything and win every time. So like, from a conservative collector's perspective, if you sit down and clean cards and get good at it, you can go shopping for cards in a totally different way. You don't have to, if you like buying in breaks or buying into Razes or raffles, go ahead. It's fun. I'm not, last thing I'm going to do is judge you or tell you what to do. But if you want, if you sit down to yourself and say, I need to make some money for my life or my family or whatever the heck it is, and I'm into cards and I know cards. So why would I go do some job that I suck at? I know cards. Well, do it, and also take the time to prepare your products and do it the right way, because, you know, it's fun if you buy into a Raz for $100 and win a $10,000 card, but how often is that going to really happen? You know what I mean? So if you buy a bunch of $100 cards at, let's say, an 8 or raw, and you put in a couple hours into cleaning all these, and they all turn into 9s or 10s, and some of them aren't, man. They just won't. But if you have time to play it like that, you're gonna see your work pay off for you. I guarantee that.
I was going to say, especially like if you're looking at one of your products, for example, I know like the overall kit is at $50, and I was looking at it thinking, average sub what someone's going to do is really going to be between the $20 and $40 mark. Obviously, it goes into the hundreds the quicker you want it, but realistically, that's getting 2 cards graded, but
Right.
that actual set can do wonders for tons of more cards. And I was working at the value. I had like someone would be so quick to send off a card for grading at say $40 and not think about it. Have a quick look, think, all right, its centering looks all right, corners look all right. There's no massive scratches, but spending like on your set, it helps you bring up all the cards. And it's what I was thinking as well. I was recently come back from London Card Show, and I was looking at cards there, and I was looking at, like you were saying, the cards that are raw. And I always say, if there's a good card and it's raw, it either means one or two things. Either it's literally fresh out the box and they haven't graded it yet, or there's something not quite right with that card that it's not going to PSA. And that is, like you say, that's where you make your money. Is right, this person's going to say it might be doing comps at 70. It's got a slight defect, so it goes down to your $40 mark. But then with an investment into like this card cleaning, like actual kit, which you can have it right next to you, buy the card, bring it home. Like you say, sometimes it won't work, but even if it works on 1 in 5, it's where you make the money.
And that's where I'm like, maybe I'm the worst salesman for my business in the world, but like I'll tell people right up front, it doesn't work on every card, guys. It doesn't. You know what I mean? Some cards are trash. And the last thing I'm going to be is like one of those, I'm sure you guys have them in the UK too, but like these commercials where they sell products late at night, where it's like, buy this kit. It will change all your cards around. You're going to be a millionaire by this time next year. No, I hope that for you, but I'm not going to say that. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know what I think I've also, Ronnie, trained people how to do is use their eyes better. Not only have I trained people how to clean cards and get those results, which is most important, but I've helped people use their eyes. You know, like there could be a guy, you could say, my goal is I'm sending 100 cards to Beckett or PSA. Well, okay, instead of looking just to fill 100, make sure all 100 of those are going to be worth it. Because as you said, you send 100 cards in at $40 a pop, and you got a, you know, expensive grading bill, you know, and you're like, I got a $4,000 in cards getting graded right now or whatever, and half of them come back 8s. Well, you just wasted $2,000. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want collectors to not only, even if they don't even clean cards and never want to, pick that thing up, guys. Look at it from the front and the back. Look at it under light. Get a magnifying glass. Like, if you're spending money in this hobby, don't go out and spend your $50 on another card. Go spend your $50 on some good lights. Go spend your $50 on a microscope. Spend your $50 on some utensils. You know, and when it's because I'm always thinking, man. I'm a guy I'm always on. So like with my card care kit, you can, with my spray and polish, with one kit you can clean about 150 cards. That's like 13 cents a card. You know, and that's as hard as I'm going to push on it, because people either A, want to clean up their cards, or B, they don't know about it, or C, there's some people that think that you should just deal with your cards coming out beat up, and that's like it's like you deserve it, and that's what they should be, and you never touch them. Clearly, that's not a huge part of the market, but I don't even care people how they think. As you know, Ronnie, as a grown up man, I can't control how other people think. You know, I can present some information. If they want to follow it, let's go. If not, okay, it's no problem. You know.
Yeah, and that's what I say. Like, I think that's the wonderful thing about the hobby at the time, is every single person sees it differently. You can literally have 30 people in the same room, and everyone has a different opinion on grade this, grade that with this company, with that company. Clean it up, don't clean it up. So, like you say, some people just have it how it is from the pack. They're like, I don't want to do anything with it, which is, and in a way, I find it remarkable. Someone I know, their 10 rate is incredible. They don't even touch someone. They sent off 30 cards, didn't even look at them, and they got 23 10s. I'm like I was like, put the lottery on. Right.
That was the case for me 15, 20 years ago. I would have never made any of this stuff. But God, like, I would send in brand new cards and they'd get a 7.5 surface. And I'm like, what's on this surface? I just opened this thing up, you know?
And I think that's the perfect thing. And that's what I do love about Beckett and their subgrades. Is you know what, whereas PSA, great, it could come back a 9, but you're like, why has it got a 9? But Yeah, like I say, that 7.5 could be, to the untrained eye or people who are not don't know what to really look for, could look like a 10. That's
Right. I mean, it's me before, man. Like, I'm not this end all be all, you know. All of my friends online and my cool customers, man, they give me way too many compliments sometimes, man. Like, I can't get all this stuff to work with me. You know, it's like I'm glad they enjoy and glad that you know, that they're seeing progress. But yeah, there's just some things I've sent in cards before where I think they look perfect. And they come back at a 7, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? I'm like, thing looks fabulous. But then what do you know? You crack it open and send it in again, and then it comes back a 9, and you're like, well, I guess I'm happy it's a 9, but I had to spend time and effort and money on the exact same process. But you know, collectors know this story. You know, they know. We've all ran into that before.
Oh yeah, and as I say, especially before you mentioned, obviously, COVID was and the pandemic was a massive springboard for the hobby. People say it's like a boom of it, but I say it's actually where it went worldwide. Like, it was over in other countries, but it really grew in popularity during the pandemic. It was at a time, I could only imagine for you, obviously, when you started up the business, obviously, you was doing sales within the US. To start seeing your product being requested worldwide, that must have been quite like an unbelievable feeling that someone halfway across the world has found your product and been like, I want to get some.
To this day, man. I mean, I don't want to sound sappy, but like every day I seriously have moments where I say, I can't believe this is what I do. I can't believe this is what I do. Like I've always been tied into the local sports community and the local card community. I mean, it's a just like anybody becomes, you know, and but then like when I made the Instagram page and people reached out for like an order, even to this day, every order that comes in, I thank it right in my head. I'm like, thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's like it's very I'm very appreciative. You know, I it makes me very proud. It's like I know that I like cleaning up cards and I'm pretty good at it, you know, because I've been at it a while. But when I see guys, my favorite stuff is like I've been collecting cards for 20 years or 5 years or whatever, and look at these results I'm getting. I live for that, man. Like, because anybody can make up a product or a company, and like it's normal for me to tell you, oh, it's great, it's amazing. You know, it's like typical businesses say all the same stupid stuff. You know, so it's like when it comes to like customers saying amazing stuff, man, blows me away, dude. And like you said, you and I would have never met if it wasn't for the hobby, you know, and you're 6 hours ahead of me in a different continent, you know, but we love cards. And, you know, and then I talk to even collectors in Australia, Hawaii, Germany, Asia. You know, I was talking with one of my couple of guys that are really big into working on cards in Hong Kong and Taiwan. And I'm like, how fun is this? You know, so I'm very, very blessed and very appreciative. I don't take any of this for granted. And I just, without customers, I don't have a company. So like, I work for you guys. That's how this whole thing works in my head. I work for the collecting community, and it's the best job in the world.
That's what it's exactly the same for me for podcasts. The first time I set up, I was like, I don't know if anyone would listen to it. And like you say, every view for me, I'm like, it's incredible. Every feedback, like, go to a show, so it's just brilliant to just talk to other people. And like you say, speak to people all around the world, which is quite, and it comes like second nature now for people within the hobby. That, oh, this guy from Australia I know who collects the same cards as me, I talk to him, and I'm like, in the whole grand scheme of things, it's quite mental that I could be at 10 p.m. at night, he's at 7 a.m. in the morning. It's just like,
I know. It's the hobby is always on. That is for sure. That's something I had to learn as a business owner, and like the representative for all of our customers is I got to learn how to put my phone down sometimes, because you know, like, as the business, no one even cared about me 2 years ago. You know, I had 5 Facebook followers and 5 Instagram followers, and they were bulk submitters that used my product, and I trained them how to do it. Now I get between probably 100 to 200 messages a day, and I'm thankful for every single one, you know. And So anybody watching this, you guys, sometimes it might take me an hour or two to get back to you, but I will always respect you guys with your questions and your help. Like, it's not easy to physically do it all, but in my head, it's so easy to run a good business when you base everything on how do I take care of my customers and make them feel special. You know, that's like my big picture. Now, doing everything takes time and effort, but it's like that's what people are going to get from me forever. I mean, I don't look at collectors as dollar signs. It's like, oh, this person's got to buy my stuff. I look at collectors as like brothers and sisters that I have a ton in common with. And I know how to make something cool that will help you out. You know what I mean? So that's really my approach to it all.
Yeah, and talking about saying cool, obviously, most people I know that have researched a product have always looked at the KurtsCare kit itself. The box of wonders, I like to call it, which I'm going to be getting one over from the States very soon. But just for people who don't know, what do you actually get within this kit? Because I think some people would be like, I have no idea what's in it.
That's a great question, Ronnie. So, like, because everything I sell is what I use personally, because, I mean, that's what I use. You know what I mean? So let me show you. So this is my cleaning spray. And this stuff is great. This stuff is for mainly, you can find some uses for it on modern cards. When I was talking about some of those clinger lines that are not dug into the card, but they're like a hard plastic going all the way across, this stuff rocks. And if you guys are ever like, how do I see it? Follow me on Instagram and on YouTube. You'll see all this stuff in action, okay? So anytime, like, I love 90s basketball. And when it comes to 90s cards, a lot of guys were my age now that collected them back then. And we probably put them in like penny sleeve or in a box and put them away for a long time. As time goes by, stuff gets on them, you know, just they get dirty. So when you have 90s cards or any card that's dirty, it could even be modern stuff. Who knows what happens to cards sometimes? But I'll get my little cotton circle, put a little spray on it, and you just gently wipe the front and back of the card, and then you'll look at this and you'll see all the dirt on there, and it will pull it off. See, I use the spray because if you just use a microfiber, you're going to be creating friction, and you're just pushing too hard. Everything you guys, if you watch any of my demos, every single thing I do on the card is with gentle hands. Nothing hard or pressing, you know, just gentle, okay? So that's what that is. This stuff is awesome. This is my polish, and this is what you can use on a variety of cards, especially chrome cards, because from a material perspective, we always say cards are made out of cardboard, which there's probably some cardboard in modern cards, but they're mainly plastic. So when you have a plastic surface and a plastic surface on the front and back, it's virtually waterproof, you know, so there's nothing, you can put a drop of water on a prison card and it's just going to stay there until it evaporates. So that's where this stuff comes in awesome, because again, let's go back to the traditional methods where we're told we can use a microfiber. Well, if you got a chrome card that's 20 years old and has some dried print lines on it and it's got a, you know, age spots on it, this is just going to screw it up, you know? So you use a little bit of card polish, and in my kit comes a couple applicators. I get all this on Amazon. Amazon's in the UK, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. So you guys can get these on Amazon. I have links on my website for everything. And you just put a little bit on there, polish up the front of the card, and then you use a microfiber that I have in here and you wipe it off. It's that simple. The most common thing, Ronnie, is people count themselves out before they ever even try it. Like, but isn't that so human? Don't people do that on everything? You know? So it's like, guys will hit me up and say, hey, Kurt, I watched all your videos. Well, they're already watching the videos, right? And then they'll say, but I don't want to do this. Can you do it for me? I'm like, you're already watching the videos. Most of the stuff I do is like putting some stuff on and wiping it off. Now, I know I get crazy on some corners and edges and some stuff that you do after a while, but I can teach you how to fix 80% of card issues just with some cleaning of the front and back, right? So don't count yourself out if you're watching this video going, oh, I'll never know how to do it. No, you will. It's okay. And guess what? How many cards come out valuable, Ronnie? What, 2% of them maybe? What, all the others are base cards that are just going to get shuffled away or thrown away? Guess what? They're made out of the same materials. So you can easily practice on base card after base card after base card. without ever feeling like, oh, I got to go touch my messy rookie right now and I don't know what I'm doing. No, no, no. You're way wrong if you're starting on that card. So start early. And then you guys in the card care kit, this is something I absolutely love. This is kind of like something I use all the time. This is for edges and corners. So I made it in a comfortable position. Like we all probably use a pen or a pencil, right? So this is for smoothing out edges and corners. I use a nice vinyl tubing on here. So since cards are mainly paper or plastic, I don't want anything scratching them. So that won't scratch up a card. And I have a lot of edge and corner demo. So really I work on surface, edges, and corners. Obviously, there's nothing you can do for centering. And with that said, don't ever go to the dark side and don't trim your cards. Don't add paint or markers to your cards. Sometimes there's stuff you can't do. You know, you'll see white edges around corners or stuff like that, and you're like, if I just get out a black marker, I can fix it. Don't do that. Don't. You're screwing it up for yourself and for the next person that gets their hands on that card. So stick to, you know, simple remedies like this. Keep the card in its original integrity and get it as good as it's going to get. And that's really the breakdown of the card care kit that I put together.
There's centering, there's nothing you can do. And sadly, there is some cards that come off the print line and you can see they literally have the next card on it. And you're like,
I know.
There's nothing, but like you say, the stuff that you can do bits about is what this whole care kit is designed for. And I take it, well, obviously, that's on your website, it's listed as most popular, and there's a reason for it. So, especially like UK wise, obviously, we've really started to get up for quite brand new. So, do you have many UK customers at all? Because there's probably people that I've met that will have had your product before, and obviously, a lot of people wouldn't have.
Not enough, though. You know what I mean? Because there's a ton of, and being that all of my demos, I understand if my product would be harder to use in a non-English speaking country, you know, but like being that all the collectors in the UK and a lot of parts of the world speak English, they can watch my demos no problem. I know I probably have a cowboy American accent for all the guys in the UK, you know, but if you can deal with this accent for a while, you can get good at the videos. But the thing is, Ronnie, I think that maybe even with this video, I could hook up with a distributor in the UK because my kits are rather inexpensive, like $50. And if you don't want a kit, you just want a polish, they're like $30, you know, so my stuff's affordable. The part is shipping to different parts of the world gets expensive. Now, again, if you're looking at the big picture and you're like, I can clean 130 cards with this thing, I don't care if I end up have to pay 30 or $40 for shipping, then fine, go and do it. But I know it's a pinch point, you know? So I would love to be able to continue to make connections in the UK and be able to potentially hook up with some card shops or some guys that hit card shows and be able to get them some kits in bulk so the collectors over there can get it at the best price possible.
As I say, that as everyone knows from especially the UK, is the main thing is the shipping, which always has been a problem. Like I said, there is alternatives around that. Like for example, for now with PO boxes, which if someone's got a PO box, it's simple. All you have to do is pay the US shipping to your PO box, and then you pay for it anyways, which is like, and like, that's the one thing I think as well that so many people might do once they know of the product. It's like, well, it's easy. All I have to do is pay the US one, and then it just comes over with all the rest of my stuff.
But wait, I wish it was just like a collector sitting in Manchester today could just be a click and it orders and it shows up with a super low price. You know what I mean? So like, I grew up in a hardworking family. I didn't grow up in a family with a lot of money. So like, I know that spending, you know, money and then having to spend double to get it shipped, I'd be a fool if I didn't notice that. You know what I mean? So I do hope that as awareness grows around card care and you know, people continue to trust me and, you know, support what we do, I'm going to do everything I can to get it able delivered to your house at you know, quickly and at a great price.
And I think that perfectly ties in with my last one. Obviously, it's been a good few years. Like obviously, the business is booming. Have you thought of the way you want to progress as a company, or anything you're looking at, or is it mainly just being able to get the product around the world to the people who need it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ronnie. Like my big picture goals would be to help get it to people around the world that need it. And, you know, and everything I say now is I'm really channeling like what the feedback my customers say, because I tell you what, I'm a pretty confident person with stuff I'm good at, but then making a company that nothing like this ever existed, and then like having my name on it and like being the face of the company, that it's like I hope everybody knows how to use it. I hope everybody does it right. Thank God I have tons of happy customers now, and they get it and they know how to do it. So I will always continue to get a variety of cards to put on demonstrations so I can show everybody something that they're working on. Because I think it's like if someone's going to pick up, you know, their favorite football card and they're like, you know what? I wonder how to do this. I want to be able to have a demo for them. So I'm always going to continue to create great content and continue to make great products. And you know what? I've never even what's in the future for this is I'm never a person that really is 100% satisfied. Even though things are going great, I'm always thinking about what new can I learn and get good at and teach somebody. So I don't know what's happening next, but I can tell you this, I'm crazy and I don't ever quit. So all the support and all the great feedback from my customers and people that are collectors, that motivates me so hardcore to like bring you something, you know what I mean? So really, Ronnie, I think one of my favorite compliments I get is people say you respond to my letters thoughtfully and stuff like that. And I'm like, isn't that actually what most companies should do? And I just realizes that so many businesses are just so robotic and don't even like care about their customers. They look at it as like, well, I made a sale and we already got your money, so go figure it out. I hate companies like that, so I will always maintain the best levels of customer service I can possibly do, and stay sharp on that. Make the products, make the demonstrations, and we'll see what happens next, but that's really where my focus, instead of trying to look 10 years down the road, I try to look pretty much the next day ahead and stay present. I can get caught daydreaming and thinking about too much. So I wake up every day and think about my customers and say, how do I run a better business today? How do I serve my customers better today? How do I show them some new things that they might have not seen before? So I'm just I care, I really care. So with all that, I think something cool will probably happen again. You know what I mean? And hopefully, it's something that can do a lot of good for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think anyone who listens along to this, there'll be a lot of people definitely interested in looking in your demonstrations or looking at the product itself. So where is the best place? I know you mentioned Instagram already, which will be in below on our post as it goes live on YouTube and Instagram anyway, but whereabouts can they find you and also where they can find the product?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Ronnie. Instagram is fun. Like I put even like just pictures of like my own collection and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So Instagram is cool. KurtsCardCare. And the best way to probably directly contact me is through Instagram Messenger. I am the most responsive on that. I do have a Facebook account, but it's like Instagram, like it's like mirrors the Instagram one. I do check the messages every day. I can't not, but I'm fastest on Instagram. My YouTube, that's why it's a great question. I just organized my YouTube into playlists. So you go to my YouTube, and again, KurtsCardCare, you will be able to click on vintage card playlist. You'll be able to click on chrome cards and surface cleaning, full card preparation. I have a playlist on how to crack a BGS slab, a PSA slab, an SGC slab. So I have everything organized. So any collector going, I'm a Pokemon card and I don't know what to do with the front of it. Well, you go to YouTube and you click on Pokemon playlist and it will show you all the videos I have done in those. So it's nice and organized. So, pardon me, I get a lot of questions of like, how do I do this? How do I do that? So now I'm always going to answer those questions, but a really easy thing to do, since I have customers from all around the world and we might not be on the same exact time frame, they can go to the YouTube channel and click on the issue they have and watch demonstrations in real time.
Yeah, like I was saying, the main place I know, especially for people who are going to be buying this product, so I know there will be people over here, and I'm definitely going to hear from some people saying, oh, well, I submitted this card, I got a 7, that is a 9. So if they want to purchase the product, obviously, like you say, it's more shipping, obviously, to get it over to UK. But like I say to people who have their PO boxes in the States, what is the website for them to go to? And to most importantly, click the little buy option.
Yeah. It's the website is KurtsCardCare.com. So it's easy, right there. KurtsCardCare.com. Easy to find. And even if you guys like, I'm hoping that I can hook up with a distributor in the UK, and it's just as simple as to get it there as it is here. However, if you guys, like anybody watching this, if you have, the great thing about the hobby is usually people have 2 or 3 friends that collect. You know what I mean? And so if you guys are watching this and you're like, hey, I got 2 or 3 buddies that I can, that they all want to work on cards too, hit me up from the UK. And if you guys want to put a custom order together, the shipping will be a lot less. You know what I mean? You can split it up. So I hope that helps. Like I said, I'm always trying to make this a little bit easier for everybody to get, but as of right now, you can order right off the website.
Love it. Like I say, make sure everyone does go hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the website as well. But like we say, thank you ever so much for joining. Most importantly, we wish you all the best over there in Michigan, as we're recording this in London. But we really do look forward to using your product very soon, but also seeing the progress and just the great stories of people actually getting them cards upgraded and just making them look better for the PC.
Thanks so much, Ronnie. I totally enjoy the conversation. It's fun. I hope it inspires some collectors to even just look at their cards a little bit better, and it can save some people some frustration. You know what I mean? So whether you use the card care or not, look at all your cards really well before you send them in. And if you ever have questions, guys, hit me up. I'm always happy to talk cards. I'm very fortunate to be in this position and do this for a living. So I take it very seriously. And I wish you, Ronnie, the absolute best with your broadcasts, man. And it's a great way to use your channel to tie collectors together. And now that collecting is on a nice rise in the UK, man, you'll be a great ambassador for that. So I give you kudos and props for doing a good job yourself, man, and taking the time to do this.
Yeah, thanks for lovely words. And like we say, make sure in the Instagram below there'll be all the links necessary, and on the YouTube all the links necessary. But make sure you do check the product out, because I can say that it's going to be big within the UK. All it takes is a couple of people, and then it's going to blow up over here, like it has to say. But like we say, thank you ever very much for joining us on this episode. No doubt, hopefully, we'll be able to regroup with you in a few months or maybe a year down the line and see what progress you made. And hopefully by then you can be saying, well, I've got all these distros all around the world, and the more the merrier, I would say.
I will do it, and I will be a guest on your show anytime, Ronnie. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining. Like I say, everyone, please do check it out. And like I say, all the links are in the description. And the second part of this will be me and our usual co-host Harry being boring for about 30 minutes talking about cards. So we'll be right back after. Yeah, a massive thanks yet again to Kurt for joining us. And no doubt, I think everyone will enjoy listening to that. It's interesting to hear about the product, and obviously very different as well from someone's stateside of how much different it is to the rest of the world. But we'll get back into the meat on the bone, so to speak, of the episode. And a certain F1 release is out this week, and some absolute monsters have been pulled. So I'm going to let you take away. He's in the garms for it, so he might as well take this one. So over to you.
Yeah, I think obviously, I'm sure a lot of you would have seen by now, obviously the F1 Dynasty 2023, I think it is, has obviously now been released. It's one of those where it's quite a high price point, so it's probably not within the region of obviously a proportion of the hobby, me included in that. But no, yeah, I think we've seen some absolute monster hits already. I think that the Hamilton 1/1 triple patch auto has been pulled. I think I've seen a couple George and Lewis dual autos. I've seen a Gunther, obviously my goat, 1/1 patch auto, Leclerc and Sainz dual auto. Like it's an incredible release, and it's a lovely checklist as well. In some of the pulls we've already seen. It's one of those when you deliberate. I mean, would you ever take it out of the mag and get it graded? Do you leave it in the mag? But no, I think we've seen some like incredible hits. And I think for a lot of people, so you having George and Lewis on the same card with 2 autos, it's probably going to put it at a pretty priceless cost. It's the first year that also they have had a card together on a dual auto, and you know, no better than Dynasty to do that. So obviously, hopefully, we'll see a lot of the prices settle. You know, a lot of the F1 crew will probably, you know, come down a bit in price, and the one-of-ones will also hold their price. But I mean, I don't know what your opinion is, but I think it's been a pretty hot hit. You know, it's just in a lot of cases ripped over in America, a couple of boxes ripped here and there. And I mean, yeah, there's not much more to say about Dynasty really, apart from the fact that it's probably one of the most higher anticipated F1 sets that's probably more better watched than actually opened.
Yeah, you'd definitely be nervous if you bought into a break or bought a case. I think on the Topps UK website, I think they was going for 1,200. Obviously, sold out straight away, but they were 1,200. So obviously, you're looking about 6K for a case because there's 5 boxes per case. And we was watching a few case breaks just before this, and I was quite intrigued to see how they do it, especially with the team principals. Because, like, no disrespect to all the team principals, but that's not who you're chasing really. You're chasing the big drivers. But we watched one case and it was 5. I think it was 4 drivers and a dual auto.
Yeah.
And then the next one was 2 team principals and 3 auto. And I'm like, surely, like, you'd be a bit unlucky if you buying into a case, you bought a case, you bought a box, and you get lumbered with 2 of the team principals, because obviously it's not where your money's at. But the cards are magnificent, and obviously there's quite a few different types. Obviously, you've got like the jumbo patches, triple patches. We did see a zipper as well, which was incredible.
Yeah.
Obviously, you see a Pierre Gasly, which you had your eyes on straight away. But yeah,
I
it's
think
one of them.
the same case had a Gunfer and a Gasly, and I was like, this is my dream case.
Yeah, imagine if you had that one, you'd be living life, wouldn't you? Absolutely love
Yeah.
it. But it's one of those. It's like, obviously it's high risk, high reward, and they do settle occasion like the prices. Obviously, it's a bit unlucky that, like, for example, a Mick Schumacher, if the set would have come out halfway through last season, it still would have had a bit of that more value. But obviously now being out of F1, don't get me wrong, it's still a lovely car to have, but it's just that little bit less valuable due to him being out of the race. Obviously, he's a reserve driver, but obviously for me, I'm not too fast because obviously I'm mainly Kimi, but obviously I've seen a lovely few Charles Leclercs, which in a dream world everyone would own, but you're talking thousands, which, like you say, is out of the realm of the normal collector. But just piggybacking on that very quickly, there is a Dynasty Champions League coming soon, which is going to be very interesting to see in terms of, we know what to expect from F1 Dynasty, and I think baseball's had Dynasty as well, but it is an elite set. It reminds me to a degree of Impeccable, but just it's a bit more higher end. Actually, the box is about the value the same, but in Impeccable, you get 7 cards, you get base cards in there, whereas Dynasty, it's a 1 card, guaranteed auto, on-card auto, actual driver worn suits rather than non-associated. So would you, the question is for you, would you ever buy into a break of Dynasty? Because obviously it's high risk, high reward. But if you're looking at maybe the Steiner spot, would be one of the so-called cheaper spots of the break, because he's not to be fair, it should be the most expensive team principal because he's the most loved one. But would you ever buy into a break of it?
I would love to sit here and say yes, but I would have to be no. Like, as much as there is a high risk, high reward, you could easily spend as much money buying Gunther in all of these different case breaks for the price you could just buy one. And if you were to enter 2 cases, into 3 cases, and all Steiner and not get a single Steiner hit, but the cost that could have been, you could have bought a Steiner Dynasty there and then. You know, obviously, if you're paying money into these cases and, you know, you hit a card, you're laughing. But like I said, it's high risk, high reward, and if you've got that money to be like, you know what, it's worth a shot, then, you know what I mean, you're laughing, go figure. But I think for me, like, I can't remember the last time I actually entered a break. Like, it's just one of the things where I've always been like, you know what, I'd rather put the money towards buying a card that I know I can get, rather than putting money into a break that I'm not guaranteed even a hit. So I said, if I had a money tree in my back garden, yeah, I probably would go and enter a couple of case breaks or buy a case. But For me, I think the simple answer would probably be like, I wouldn't risk entering a dynasty break if it wasn't a guaranteed, or I didn't have that money there. And I think that's the important thing, is if you haven't got the money there, don't try it, basically. But yeah, I mean, if you hit something good, you said you're laughing and you win the money. But if you don't, then it's like, a couple of quid down the drain.
I was going to also say, do you think there'd be so obviously like the autos what are in 2022 Chrome, do you think they will start to go down slightly now that Dynasty is out? Because obviously 2022 Chrome was the go-to set up until Dynasty's released. Obviously, we're looking at price points here and everything like that. But obviously, when paper come out, there was a bit of hype about it because it was the first F1 product. Obviously, then Chrome comes out and kind of pushes that down the pecking order. So do you think Dynasty is going to have any effect at all on Chrome's prices?
I don't think so. I think because where you've got Chrome here and you've got Dynasty here in terms of like a price point, I don't see how it could affect the 2022 Chrome prices. Yes, all right, there's more cards readily available. There's more autos of a certain driver. There's more cards out there in terms of F1. But Dynasty's been released literally more or less on race weekend. And, Drive to Survive's out. We've already hit in, I think we've done FP1 already and FP2. So, prices are all going to start creeping back up again now the season's starting. So I think, if you'd said that 6-7 weeks ago and said like Dynasty's out now, do you think it'll affect Chrome prices? Maybe. But I think now the race season's about to start, usually that's what happens, and prices then go gradually rising back up. Now the hype is all there. So I don't think it will have too much of an effect. Like, I do think it will affect the prices in some way. But I think where they're almost two completely different products, you've got one that is far right end of the spectrum in terms of price point, and you've got Chrome, which obviously is down more the left end in terms of the gap. So I think it will have some effects, but I don't think it will have as drastic effect where some people will notice it. Personally, I don't know what you think, but I don't see how it will reflect massively onto Chrome.
Yeah, I do agree. I think if you look at the actual, say if you took a consensus of people who are collecting F1, you've probably got 99% of people that in their ballpark of what they can afford is Chrome. And then it's the 1%, even the 0.5%, 0.1% who can go after the Dynasty. So, like I said, there's still Chrome cards going under the radar. I think I've seen some go for really cheap on eBay. Obviously, that could be a story for another episode of YouTube even. eBay America auctions have been going really strange at the moment, and direct in comparison to that, it's then the comps are all over the place. So it's just a very strange place to market at the moment. Some cards are going for triple the price, being shield bidded, or just generally going for a good price, and then the same card can sell 5 minutes apart for 400 less. It just makes no sense at all. So yeah, I don't think it will have that much of an impact on Chrome, and if it does, there'd be some very good bargains for people to pick up, because you're looking at, I've seen autos ranging from 75 through to 200 of, obviously not your top drivers in terms of your Leclerc's, Hamilton's, Russell's, Verstappen's, but you go up just under that, Yuki Tsunoda's, Gasly, them type of drivers, you're looking $200 or less, which is a very good price for an F1 auto. But obviously there was the product that we talked about a lot last week. Revolution is now in full swing, and yeah, there's a pet peeve straight away with that set. I just don't like.
What is it?
I just don't like how you can bring out a product that in the first pack is the numbered card, and then if there's an auto in the box, it's in the same pack as well. So that completely eliminates the resale market of individual packets, because if someone's going to open the box, they're just going to take the first pack out and then sell the other set. Don't get me wrong, you can still get nice case hits in the other ones. You can get Galactics, and obviously you can get the die cuts, but it just makes no sense to me. Obviously, it must be a easier way of manufacturing for Panini, that all they have to do is put 7 packs in, then the 8th pack is the numbered auto. So fair play. But otherwise than that, how do you think they look, the actual cards, now we've seen them in full swing?
Yeah, I do think they look nice. I don't think they look too dissimilar from last year's Rev. Like I said, I think a lot of the cards are quite questionable. Like there's it looks like an air freshener, sort of like a Christmas decoration, like a little cutout. That's the one, Star Factor, yeah. I know we saw an Obsidian, like a lot of the they weren't just cards, they were like more of like a different shape. So like it's one of those set. I think we sort of pretty much covered it last episode where we said that it's not the most expensive break. It's not you're not going to get you getting one numbered and one auto per one numbered per box, not guaranteed auto. So it's one of them things. Like it's a nice enough set. I think for us having a Gabriel auto in there, I think you questioned whether that was actually his auto or not. Sol Campbell and some big names like Omri, Star Factor, but I do think the cards are nice. It's a nice enough set. It's cheap for everyone to get involved in. It's a chance of hitting I think I've seen like a to 10 Zinchenko come up as well recently, and it's a nice enough cards on there, but it's just one of those sets where it's like it's cool, but it's not mind breaking.
I was going to say the resale market on it. I would say it's quite similar to like your scores and that and the elites.
Yeah,
a lot of it's not going for anything, and I think roughly they've been doing about 120 to 140 on the resale market for one numbered card. Obviously, you had the non-numbered parallels, but the odds of making your money back very, 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 very small, especially if you don't hit an auto. So
yeah,
it's one of them that is probably better for breaks than it actually is for buying, for the sole fact of you're not investing £120 in for potentially get no cards. It's quite easy because you don't get that many base. So it's one of them that just don't over expect anything from that product because it is one of the lower end cards. And like I said, we're now just counting down the days for something else to be released now because now it's in full flow. We've had the new season's kits, we've had some of the new players that we are looking forward to, like your likes of Prism and stuff like that. Obviously, it keeps getting delayed. Donruss as well keeps getting delayed. So hopefully they'll be out very soon. But I might as well let you take this over because I know you have some pickups this week finally for everyone to see.
Yeah, I know that I disappointed last episode, didn't I? Because I had no pickups to show off. But the three that I said were going to be available for next episode are available, and they are right here next to me. So yeah, I picked up first of all Eddie Nketiah 2019 Premier League sticker. I think it's from the update set. Got it from Sports Card General, so shout out to him. Eddie Nketiah's rookie sticker, I believe it is. He's been doing very well in Jesus' absence. I know the last two games, obviously, he's been benched with, I believe, a thigh injury. Also, I know we've been playing Martinelli down the middle. But yeah, I've not really got any Nketiah cards. I thought, rookie sticker. I'm picking up a lot of stickers recently, PSA stickers. Got a bit of a thing for them at the moment. So, but yeah, I was really, really pleased to get that in the PC. So shout out to Sports Card General. Then these next two cards I picked up from Mike, otherwise known as Marnold Cards. So first of all, picked up the Lewis Hamilton PSA 8 Aqua Sapphire from the Bahrain Grand Prix winner. So it's numbered 16 of 99. The Aquas are just your pops, like absolutely pops, especially in the PSA. I don't know if you can tell, but it is actually in one of these thicker PSA slabs that PSA randomly start to drop in some of the F1 cards, which is a bit weird. Like I was saying to you, wasn't running before we come on here, is that it feels like there should be like an impeccable card in there. Like it's that thick. It feels like there should be like an impeccable or a thicker card in there. But nonetheless, it's still a lovely, lovely card to have in the PC. And obviously, Lewis Hamilton, nonetheless, Aqua to 99. So that was the first pickup from him in the lovely thick PSA slab. And second of all, which was one of my favourite pickup from these three, was this Thierry Henry 1999-2000 UCL sticker PSA 6. I've got the Merlin 99-2000 for his first Arsenal sticker. But this one absolutely pops in this PSA slab. So yeah, those are my three pickups from last week, which I'm very pleased to finally have. So yeah, shout out to Sports Cards General and Marnold Cards for that.
It's nice to finally see you picking some stuff up again. I know you're on the market with some other bits, but I'd like to say, I think just touching on the back of that sticker PSA slab thing, I actually think people are realizing now that stickers are actually really nice when they're slabbed. And
literally.
And the thing is, what I say to a lot of people as well is they're so much harder to get a good grade in stickers because they're so much more flimsy. I've got an example here. I've got a Thomas Muller rookie sticker, and they just look great. Stickers in slabs. Where is it here? Like it just looks great. Obviously, this is a
Yeah.
slab, but it's something about I like I say exactly the same.
See,
As
I
well
think
with,
even SGC, I mean, like, obviously the PSA
yeah,
slabs there with the stickers, but I think SGC with the black background does look nice. But then it is like just these like this, the stickers look so nice slabbed up, like
yeah, like
lovely.
I've obviously got quite a few stickers in the collection. I think it's a thing that's growing in popularity quite a lot. I know we see it quite a lot at card shows of stickers actually being in slabs. Because I remember a good year and a half, 2 years ago, you'd never see soccer actual slabs like stickers. So is there any other ones you've got your eyes on in terms of stickers that you're thinking? Because obviously now you're building up a bit of an Henri collection in slabs.
Yeah, I don't know. I know we've spoken about it before, haven't we? Whether I should try and sort of get every Henri sticker from his Arsenal days and see if I can sort of find every sort of sticker that he had between obviously his Arsenal career. So that might be next on the agenda and see if I can do something along the lines of that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's just any nice ones I see. Like I know I've got the Henri and the Fabregas from the 2005 Champions of Europe set. I know there's a couple of other Arsenal stickers in that set. So whether I try and complete that set and get all the stickers from there, or yeah, I'm not really too sure where I go down from here. But I think it's just crazy how you can pick up these stickers raw for £1 to £5 potentially in some cases, and you get them slabbed up and they're worth 20, 25 to 200 to. I know we saw that Messi 1 of 1 sticker, PSE 8 go for like $132,000 to me the other day, which obviously is absolutely mind blowing. So, but yeah, other than that, I've not really got my eye on picking up too many other stickers. If they come up, then we'll have a little look.
As I say, the stickers do look great in SGC as well, but like just having a comparison next to a PSA one, they're very different looking. Obviously now PSA have also got the designated actual sticker slabs. It'd be interesting to see one of them in person because obviously they're quite new, so we haven't seen them yet. But yeah, like I say, I think we've both got a few stickers in mind. I've got a load of Burke. Like what you're doing, Vonry, I'm doing with Burkamp. But it's just getting them off for grading. Like you say, you can pick some of them up between the £1 and £10 area. Obviously, some of the more iconic ones, like the 2006 kit for Arsenal in the claret, go for a bit more because it's more the actual look of it. And obviously, then if you look at the earlier stuff of players in general, it will go for a bit more. But they're very like decently priced stickers. Obviously, then the condition is a massive factor, and I think that plays perfectly into one of my pickups actually, because it is a sticker which will be going off for grading at some point. And you mentioned the Champions of Europe set, which was quite funny because I picked up a Philip Lahm from the same set, and it's just a clean sticker. I really like the actual design. On my YouTube video, I said the same thing of this Champions of Europe set is actually, I think, is very underrated because there's a load of big names in there, early stuff as well, and it's just a nice look at the card. And I believe I know there is 2 different versions of this sticker. I need to research it because I know one of them where the Germany flag is for Lahm is the badge. I think in one country, I think it's the English one. I have the Arsenal badge for Arsenal in England, but then everywhere else has the English flag. So it's quite intriguing. And then my other pickup was a nice little one here. Topps Now Jorginho. Picked it up for a tenner, which you can't go wrong with. Topps Now numbered. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting week for pickups. No doubt we will be trying to pick up some more, but as we're saying, this is pretty much what 7 weeks, 6 weeks to the London Card Show again. So all the attention now gets put back on that and saving money for that once again. So yeah, so I think obviously buying is slowly changing. I've got a few cards and stickers over in America, which I'm waiting to get back over. But I think, as we have always said, it's a buying market at the moment. So if you do see something you like, if you can pick it up, because like we're not financial experts here, but the prices of them, a lot of them are just very good prices. You can pick up some PSA slabs for 10 to 20 quid, and you got to think that even when the price comes down, they're going to be about 15 quid to get something slabbed anyway. So always keep that in mind. And obviously, moving on now, I think we don't normally do predictions, but obviously being the weekend after the first race, as this goes out, it's going to be quite intriguing because we're going to make a prediction and we're both going to look like utter idiots for doing the prediction. But what we're saying, who's going to be winning the inaugural race of the season in Bahrain?
It's a sticky one because I know obviously in FP1, Verstappen come out on top and Russell and Hamilton were down in P10 and P11. I've not actually seen the results yet for FP2, which if my app loads quick enough, I'll be able to figure out. But I mean, it's difficult because we know what we saw happen last year, where obviously Verstappen and Checo were both out of the first race. So where are we at? So when Hamilton come 8th and Russell come 13th in FP2 with Alonso coming out on top. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I think Verstappen will win it. And I think it will be Verstappen, Leclerc, then Hamilton. I'm going to go with that. I think it's difficult because it depends how Mercedes are going to come out of the block. So if they're going to come out firing with a car that's quick enough to compete, then they'll be up in the points. However, I just think at the moment, judging by the two FP2s and obviously how Verstappen's on a roll, it pains me to say it, but I think Verstappen will win on Sunday, and hopefully we'll see Hamilton or Russell on the podium. But yeah, I want to go with Verstappen winning.
I think it's very hard to look past Verstappen. I think Red Bull just that dominant. I'm hoping Ferrari actually do well this season now. They can actually get a proper, I would say principal win, but just tactician in general that don't pit people for no necessary reason or leave them out when they should go in the pits. Like I say, Leclerc's been looking good, but I think I agree with you there. They're the top two, but Alpine through testing and practice have looked very good. Obviously, for people who don't really know F1, free practice and testing is completely different to race pace. But I would love to see like an Alpine, or just someone different up there. I'd love to see a Fernando Alonso, for example, get up in the podiums. Just to start the season. Like I remember, I can't remember how many years ago now. It must be about 9-10 years ago that the first race of the season used to be Australia, and Kimi Raikkonen won the first race when he was at Lotus. These first races, you don't really want your Verstappen's winning them. You want to just something a bit interesting, because no doubt, I think I agree with you there. If Verstappen wins the first couple of races, probably ready, all done. So it'll be quite interesting.
We don't want to say that, Ronnie. We're not going to say that, are we?
Well, I'll put for the last minute. I'll put my Charles Leclerc hat on, and Charles Leclerc.
And I'll just hold up this in the corner.
Yeah, I'll wear me hat. Lovely, good old Charles. But no, I think it's going to be a very interesting season. It'll be interesting to monitor the card market as we go along with the season. Obviously, prices will spike and drop depending on how they do on a race weekend. And just in general, it's going to be an interesting few weeks. Obviously, with releases, obviously new ones will have come out and seen their prices. But I think it's been another great episode. Again, we just want to thank Kurt again for joining us all the way from Michigan in Detroit. But is there any ending comments you would like to make before we see out episode 53 of the Top Loaded podcast?
Selfishly, I think if anyone's selling a Saka Obsidian Color Blast or a Saka Pitch Kings, shout me. But otherwise that, no, it's been another great episode. Obviously, it was sad to miss out on the interview with Kurt, work commitments, but it was a fantastic interview, and it's a really niche market that you don't see very often around anywhere. That people actually know you can send these cards to him and he'll clean them, and he's got proven record of it going from like a PSA 8 to a PSA 10 or SGC to an SGC 10, whatever. So I think it's really interesting. It's a really niche market, so hopefully you guys enjoy it as much obviously that I did listening to it back and as Ronnie did doing it. So but no, I think apart from that, mate, I'm all cleared up.
Like I say, all of the links will be down below for Kurt's Card Care. And also our links will be down below for our YouTube and for our Instagrams. But like we say, thank you everyone so much for joining in for another week of Top Load Podcast. If you're watching along on YouTube, press the like button, hit the subscribe below. And until next time, hope everyone out there is doing safe, staying well, and most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.